Okay, so what I'm going to try and give you here is like an overview of Tekla structures. I can't show you everything that Dave's talked about today, it's just not enough time. But what I have here is a project that's ongoing over in Finland at the moment. And what you're looking at here is effectively a Tekla structures model. So down here we have the foundations, we have columns, we have the beams in there, we have steel work, we've got hollow core floors in here, we have the delta beam supporting the hollow core, and over here we have the panels. And all this information is actually a true, if you like, full-size copy of the model in a 3D space. And if you inquire on these parts, you've got the information here about the materials, the profile, the finish, the weight. It literally is the object. And if I just create a 3D view of this, inside there what we have is all the reinforcement, all the hardware, all the weldings required. We have some lifters, we've got the bracketry, we've got sockets for connecting things in there. So literally, the detailers that can put absolutely everything required for fabrication and for the construction into these models. So it's a very, as-built model that's very concise and very precise with everything in there. So with this information in Tekla structures, what can we get out? If I go to the reports over here, I go to the assembly list and show this. You see that in this model I've got the assembly position, the name and the profile, areas and weights of all these profiles. You can see the list there of all these units. And of course down the bottom I've got a total of 1,814 steel assemblies in here, and a total area and a total weight. Likewise we can also get out the cast unit information. So cast unit, again all the cast units, areas, weights and volumes of all that concrete required to make this structure. And again, total down here 1,782 cast units. But it's not just obviously the objects we can get out of these things as well, we've got all the bolts. So we've got the bolt list, here's all the bolts required to make this project. We've also got all the reinforcing bars as well, so rebar schedule, and show the reports there. And these reports can be created in such a way they go straight into Excel for estimating purposes. We can also link with the ERP systems, so we can go to Elematic, we can go to GoData and FabTrol. In fact, that's what the steel guys are already doing, and some of the precasters. So it's a very as-built, accurate copy of the model for costing and pricing and everything, and that's what's happening right now. It's what people are doing at the moment. Okay, and if I just show you a drawing as well. I mean, this is obviously it's a live model, but I've only got the one drawing. As you can see there, so there is a drawing of that panel I showed you a minute ago with the lifters and the reinforcement and the mesh, and of course in the top right-hand corner to make that one unit we need various layers for the panel. It's a sandwich panel, I believe. Got the embeds there, the reinforcement and the mesh. So it's very a very comprehensive, it's the leading 3D detailing tool for construction. Okay, so that's what's happening now. What I'm going to do now is, if I go into my reference files, so I've ghosted all these out so I can show them one at a time. So Dave talked about bringing all the disciplines together into one project. So if I was to file, reference model list, into here, there is the architectural model on the outside there. If I just pick one of these units here, as you can get one of these members here, inquire on that. It's like Dave was talking, man, this is from AutoCAD Architecture 2010. We've got information down here about the curtain wall and its size and its length and its width and things like that, and it's all in there. Likewise in here I've also got the heating and cooling. So there's all the heating and cooling. Just zoom into all this, you can see all of these units, you can see the valves, you can see the pipes, you've got the ducting. Just pick one of these members, again inquire on it. This has come from MagiCAD. And again, this is a 65mm tube. Now, the fact that we've brought them all in, I'll just obviously show the water and plumbing as well, it says the water. So the fact that all of this has come into one model is very beneficial in the fact that we can actually report on them. Because it's in there as a solid object, we can report on it. So if I just go back to my reports again, in here I've got one for the doors. I'll show you this one. It's in Finnish, so I can't read it. We've got the door types, the heights, the widths, and I don't know what tunnels means. But that's all the doors that are in there. If I come down to the ducts and show you this list, there's all the duct work, so 600mm ducts. I've got a length of 9.37 meters. There's a product series. And of course with Tekla what you can do is you can highlight these in here and it actually picks them in the model as well so you can find them. So you can actually quantify everything required for the HVAC side and for the heating and plumbing side as well as the actual native Tekla structures objects. If I now go back to the combined, because I've shown you them separately there, if I show you this view, this is everything. This is everything in the one view. If I create a clip plane, and just drag that down. Okay, what you can quite clearly see is all the disciplines together in one location. You can see them all there. There's no need to sit there and try and create, you know, separate drawings and look at them and cross-check them on grid lines and try and work out what's going on in a project. You can see it visually in one model, how they all interface together. It's a very precise way of working with things. What I should do there is just close that. Now if I just show this, again in a ghosted fashion, what we have is a model organizer. So tools, model organizer, and in here you can see that we've broken down the building into the various mechanical sections, the various stories, the various floors that are in there as well. It's all been broken down by the architectural CAD layers. So here's all the doors. So I'll pick them in there, and we'll highlight them. There you are. They are in the model there, all those doors. Come down here, might find where the stairs are. Where are the stairs? And there's all the stairs. My laptop binging. Oh my god. There's all the staircases in there. But not only can we classify the reference files, we can also reference all the actual native Tekla objects. So here are the beams. And I highlight them. Quite annoying. And of course, if I use the custom inquiry tool, I can very quickly get a volume and an area of the form side and the rebar weight for all those beams. Likewise, down here for the footings, choose the footings. There's all the footings down there, and again, a total volume of 15.2 meters cubed. So all this information is immediately at hand and it's stored within the model. And also in this model organizer, if I expand on this, we've also got the footings here, grid location, profile, top level mark material. So it's very data rich, is the Tekla Structures model. I'm just going to close this now. So the benefits of having everything in one model. We talked about the clash check and clash prevention. If I just go into here and turn off the architects, so I'll say hidden. So what you're seeing now is the structural model. Create a clip plane again on the top there. If I just scroll down here and find myself some clashes, there you go, there's some clashes over there. Look, as you can see, this is an early incarnation of this model. It's a work in progress, so there actually are some clashes in here. But I can pick the reference file and the holochord object there. I can pick a few more to show you the point. Because typically what you'd do is you'd highlight a phase or a floor or an area that's going for construction, or in fact just do the whole model and, you know, review it stage by stage. But tools, class check manager, and what I can do is run the class check, and it finds the clash between those two parts there. So you see when I highlight it, it picks it in the model. So I know I have a clash in this model, so we can prevent this before it goes to site, so therefore saving a lot of back work and a lot of costs. So. No, I don't. Okay, so what we've also got as well in Tekla Structures, like Dave was talking about the extras, we're talking about the Trimble information. So if I come down here, you'll see there's some points in there. See the points on the foundations? Yep. If I go Control F into the plugins, what we can do is we can actually apply layout points into the model. So we can place them where we see fit, where the foundation should be. We can synchronize. So if I was to start the tool, the layout manager, this is the interface to the LM80 device. And this obviously looks at the whole model and finds all the survey points in this model that currently exist. So what we can do is we can send the guy to site, and you can actually survey the site first, you can come back to us, we import it in there, we bring all the points in. We can then work to those points, create the structure, give him some points back, he can go back to site and set out. And likewise, once they've done the pour, of course, the foundation might end up being deeper or being wider because of the constrictions on site, he can resurvey that and bring the information back in again, and I can modify my model to suit that change. Just by using this little interface, you see it there? The Trimble, import and export job file, and again, the export job file. Okay. What else can we do? Talking about the planning side of things. If I just close that one for a minute and close, just the native ones. Here is just obviously the structure on the pipes. If I now go to the task manager, what we can do is we can either use import from Microsoft Project, Asta Power Project, or Primavera, we can bring them in, or alternatively we can actually do it in Tekla Structures. We can create the task manager in here and then export to those other softwares. It takes a little while to open this one. There it is. Make sure it fits on my screen. I'll just minimize this down a little bit. Okay, so what we have here is the task manager. So we have the foundations. If I highlight the foundations there, and in this model, when I pick them, you'll see there, it's actually highlighting all the foundations for that area. And again, using custom inquiry, I can see that exactly for that foundation pour 2 there, I've got 33 cubic metres of pour to be done. And of course we know these volumes, we know that the rates, we know the rate they can pour things and lay things. So of course we can actually get the information for a 5-day task that's in there. And all these parts that you see in there are stored. We can obviously set the task type, you know, for form work, for pouring, for erection and things. But what we have in here as well is all the parts. Each individual part is stored in here, so we can control the erection sequencing of these things. And of course we've got all the dates down here that we can plan and we can control. And the great benefit of doing that is if I go to my project status visualization, wasn't expecting that. I would have been able to step through the 4D timeline and actually show those dates. I expect that would happen. So, I mean, but that was effectively the end of the presentation anyway. Look, as it turns out. Alan can tell you, I showed him yesterday. I showed Alan what it did. It's the project. My laptop has some serious issues with projectors. So I was here this morning at 6 o'clock trying to make sure it worked. Okay, are there any questions?